My biceps are humongous. Humongous. Like that, bam!
Ever wonder what happens when the quest for physical perfection turns into a dangerous obsession, when pushing limits means crossing dangerous lines? From bursting biceps to heartbreaking tales of love, things take shocking, tragic, and downright bizarre turns. Today, we look into 15 bodybuilders whose relentless pursuit of the ultimate physique led to unexpected and often devastating consequences. So, sit back, relax, and let's explore the tales of those who went way too far. Number 15, Mustafa Ismail. Mustafa Ismail is an Egyptian bodybuilder who once held the Guinness World Record for the largest upper arm circumference. His biceps measured an astounding 31 inches, roughly the size of an average human waistline. His claim to fame has always been shrouded in controversy due to suspicions that he used Synthol to achieve his massive arm size. Take one look at his arms and you will question it. They don't look natural. More importantly, they do not look pleasing to the eye. Why push something to such extremes that it negates the whole purpose of starting it in the first place? But Ismail has always insisted that his biceps are the result of rigorous training and an extraordinary diet. His diet includes 7 pounds of protein and 9 pounds of carbohydrates a day. He also drinks about 3 gallons of water to flush out his system. If that's not pushing it too far, I don't know what is. His madness for bodybuilding started after he was mocked for his overweight physique at a relative's wedding. He turned this ridicule into motivation to transform his body, mainly focusing on his biceps. Why this intense focus on biceps? Only Ismail can tell. He supposedly can curl 400 pounds, bench press 500 pounds, and lift up to 600 pounds. He attributes this tough regimen to his massive arms, but the fitness community isn't convinced. The community is skeptical of his claims. His repeated denials have not convinced anyone that he doesn't use Synthol. His arms look unnatural and his muscles appear more swollen and less defined than typical bodybuilder muscles. Even his record was removed from the Guinness World Records. In an attempt to clear his name, Ismail underwent testing in Japan. He had a full-body MRI scan and an ultrasound of his upper arms. The tests reportedly found no signs of implants, drug use, or intravenous tampering. Despite this, the bodybuilding community remains unconvinced. Mustafa Ismail's story is a prime example of pushing too far. Number 14, Greg Valentino. Greg Valentino remains one of the most popular and controversial names in bodybuilding. His fame skyrocketed in 2008 when he was featured in Bodybuilding News for having monstrous 27-inch arms.
There's not a bodybuilder on this planet who has not had some sort of side effects from taking steroids, even some supplements. You know what I mean? It could be something simple, as in taking a protein powder. Well, that's a small side effect. When you're taking steroids, you get big side effects, and of course, I had big side effects.
Ripley's Believe It or Not even dubbed them the world's biggest. While people were in awe of his huge biceps, those in the bodybuilding community weren't impressed. In fact, T-Nation once called him the most hated man in bodybuilding. Why was Greg hated so much? The answer lies in how he achieved those monstrous arms. Greg started training at the age of 13, and by his late teens, he had 18-inch biceps. He worked hard and increased them to an impressive 21 inches, all naturally. However, this wasn't enough for Greg. He has admitted to suffering from a little man syndrome and having confidence issues. Standing at only 5 foot 5 inches tall, he felt overshadowed as younger bodybuilders surpassed his size in a shorter time frame. This led to him developing bigorexia, a relentless drive to get as big as possible through any means necessary. And any means necessary is what he adopted. He turned to a dangerous combination of substances to achieve his massive size, but he lost the respect of the community in the process. The bodybuilding community accused him of using Synthol. It's an enhancement oil injected under the muscle tissue to create the appearance of larger and fuller muscles. Although he refuted the claim and never admitted to using Synthol, everybody knew the truth. He didn't stop with Synthol either. He combined it with equipoise and testosterone propionate, injecting about 3,000 milligrams a week directly into his muscles. Equipoise is known for increasing endurance, muscle mass, and red blood cell production. But Greg was not just using it, he was abusing it. His worst nightmare came when he punctured an abscess while reusing a needle, leading to a massive infection. He tried to drain the fluid himself, which turned out to be a very bad move. His bicep literally exploded and blood and pus started oozing out. He had to be rushed to the hospital, where doctors cut open his bicep to let the fluids drain. This incident even led to him being featured in a documentary titled The Man Whose Arms Exploded. Despite the horror of his experience, Greg Valentino made a comeback. He used the negative publicity to his advantage and became a media personality. Today, he is unrecognizable from his steroid abuse days. He has appeared in numerous shows and authored 2 best-selling books. Greg's story is one of reaching the depths of hell and coming back. He has been lucky, but not everyone is. His story highlights the extreme lengths bodybuilders go to achieve the ideal physique, but the cost they pay for it is often too high. Number 13, Chad Brothers. Chad Brothers was not a famous bodybuilder. He was an ordinary man with a passion for bodybuilding. He worked in construction and attended classes at Hudson Valley Community College. He was on his way to finishing a degree in engineering. His friends described him as outgoing and jovial. But on October 31st, 2011, something flipped and he went berserk. A series of unfortunate events culminated in his death. So, what triggered the death of this happy-go-lucky man? Let's start with what happened on that fateful day. Chad Brothers went to Gold's Gym in Latham, New York in the early hours of October 31st. This was not out of the ordinary for Brothers, but what happened next was, he went into a fit of rage that could only be described as roid rage. It all started when he fell off an elliptical machine. Something triggered in him. As a face-saving reaction, Brothers went berserk and started attacking other gym goers and destroying gym property. He started by increasing the speed of another gym goer's treadmill and punching him in the face. Then, he went on a rampage, toppling weight machines, throwing dumbbells, and ripping drawers out of file cabinets. Around 30 people in the gym witnessed his uncharacteristic outburst, and it was even recorded on the gym's CCTV camera. Police were called to defuse the chaotic scene, but Chad was beyond reasoning. His rage had completely taken him over. He threw boxes at a female officer, and she had to tase him to subdue him. But such was his rage that one taser wasn't enough. He had to be tased multiple times, and a cop even hit him with a baton to finally bring him down and handcuff him. Soon after, he had a cardiac arrest and died shortly after. An autopsy revealed that Chad had anabolic steroids in his system, which caused his extreme reaction. In medical terms, it's called excited delirium, a condition characterized by anxiety, hallucinations, insensitivity to pain, aggressive behavior, and abnormal strength. These symptoms led to his sudden and violent outburst. Chad Brothers' tragic demise is a chilling reminder of the potential consequences of steroids. In his case, it is not even clear whether Brothers was abusing steroids. Even improper use can have dire consequences. Number 12, Trevor Smith. At the turn of this century, Trevor Smith was the go-to man in the bodybuilding community. If you wanted to build muscles, he and his intense training system were the answer. He himself weighed 400 pounds and stood 6 foot 1 inches tall. But his death at the young age of 33 raised questions about pushing your body way beyond its limitations. Let's see why Trevor Smith makes our list of bodybuilders who pushed it too far. Smith was inspired to take up bodybuilding after watching the movie Pumping Iron. He developed a unique training philosophy called Beyond Failure Training, or BFT. The core idea of the BFT philosophy is to push athletes to continue exercising beyond the point of muscle failure. It involved high-intensity techniques like forced reps and drop sets, pushing the body to its absolute limits to maximize muscle growth. He also founded Nuclear Nutrition in 1999 to cater to the needs of bodybuilders and athletes. Despite his innovative approach and dedication, Smith wasn't satisfied. He used performance-enhancing drugs, including steroids. He pushed it too far and then pushed some more. These substances helped him achieve enormous size, but along with size, they brought serious health complications. Tragically, Smith passed away on March 6, 2004, due to a brain aneurysm, with his steroid use likely playing a significant role in his untimely death. His legacy is marked both by his achievements and as a cautionary tale of the dangers of extreme bodybuilding. Number 11, Greg Kovach. Greg Kovach was one of the largest professional bodybuilders in history. With 25-inch biceps, a 70-inch chest, and 35-inch legs, he was known for his massive size and unparalleled strength. However, he struggled to achieve top placements in major bodybuilding competitions. His best showing was 13th place at the Arnold Classic in 2004. Despite this, he was well respected in the bodybuilding community and remembered as a gentle giant. Before he became the gentle giant, Kovach was interested in sports from a young age and played hockey and soccer in Ontario, Canada. He even briefly studied electrical engineering in college, but dropped out to pursue his dream of becoming a bodybuilder. It did not take much time for him to make a name for himself. In 1996, he won the Canadian National Championships and earned his IFBB Pro card. Competitive bodybuilding often favored aesthetics and symmetry, and Kovac's sheer mass did not account for much, but that did not stop him from living out his passion. Throughout his career, Kovac struggled with significant health issues like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, joint pain, sleep apnea, and heart problems. In 2010, a leaky heart valve caused fluid retention and breathing difficulties. He underwent surgery to fix it, but his health continued to decline. At the age of 44, Kovac passed away due to heart failure. His death was a significant loss to the bodybuilding community, and he will always be remembered as a pioneer of the mass monster era. The question to ponder is, could Kovac have done anything different to address his health issues? What if he had invested the same amount of time and effort in improving his health as opposed to building muscles? Would he still be with us today? Number 10. Steve Michalik. Steve Michalik was a legendary bodybuilder known for his intense and extreme training methods. His intensity or insanity approach pushed the boundaries of physical and mental endurance. His workouts were so notorious that those who tried to follow them either ended up in the hospital or quit from extreme exhaustion. His regimen could include up to 90 sets for each body part, which is taking it too far. Steve Michalik paid a heavy price for it. Steve's journey started with a troubled childhood. He was constantly beaten and emotionally abused by his father. This difficult upbringing resulted in a stubbornness and determination that defined him as an adult. His philosophy was further influenced by Taoist monks he met during the Vietnam War, who used their minds to conquer physical challenges. It is these beliefs that illustrate the intensity he brought to his life. He was interested in bodybuilding from a very young age. His inspiration? Captain America. He once cheekily said he couldn't become Captain America, so he became Mr. America instead. In 1975, he won Mr. Universe and was aiming to win Mr. Olympia. But fate had other plans. He suffered a terrible car crash that left him confined to a wheelchair for several years. However, he wasn't one to give up. He made a roaring comeback in the 1980 Mr. Miami competition. His comeback earned him the nickname the Phantom Bodybuilder from none other than Arnold Schwarzenegger. But his comeback wasn't just fueled by extreme hard work and high tolerance to pain. There was, and had always been, a secret ingredient to Steve's incredible body: steroids. He supplemented his intense training with anabolic steroids and, true to his character, went overboard with their use. He took 2 to 3 times more steroids than his contemporaries. His prolonged and excessive use of steroids led to severe health complications. He started bleeding from his gums, kidneys, colon, and sinuses. Even his muscles gave out. Despite his intense training, his muscles lost their firmness. As his body began to fail, he got addicted to painkillers to cope with the chronic pain. His health declined to the point where he collapsed on stage in Toronto. This was a wake-up call. Once determined to use steroids to build his muscles, Steve became determined to wean himself off the chemical dependency to save his body. True to his personality, he went through intense detox programs and succeeded. He spent his later years being a vocal critic of steroid use. Even though he overcame his addictions, the damage was already done. He continued to struggle with health issues. The psychological and physical toll extreme bodybuilding had taken on him was irreversible. In 2012, he tragically ended his own life by suicide. While his determination to succeed is commendable, his need to push boundaries to the extreme is a cautionary tale to others. Number 9. Andreas Munzer. Andreas Munzer was known for his unbelievably shredded physique. He wasn't just muscular, he was the epitome of what you might call ripped to the bone. But this perfection came with a very heavy price. Munzer did not live to see his 32nd birthday. How did a man whose life was all about being fit end up dead at the age of 31? To answer that, we need to delve deep into his life. Munzer was born on October 25, 1964 in Austria and grew up in a small village. He was a shy boy and his escape came in the form of bodybuilding. His inspiration? Fellow Austrian Arnold Schwarzenegger. Despite his humble beginnings, Munzer pursued his bodybuilding dream with relentless passion. By 1989, he had already made a name for himself. He competed with a skin texture that looked almost paper thin. Weighing 200 pounds at the time, he possessed what you would call an ultra-defined look. By 1996, Munzer had become a household name in bodybuilding. Weighing 220 pounds, he was a walking anatomy chart with every muscle and vein visible. He maintained that translucent skin, and competitors and fans alike were in awe of his dedication. But behind the scenes, Munzer's strict and brutal routine was taking a toll on his body. On the outside, his body was a picture-perfect sculpture. On the inside, it was falling apart like a house of cards. Munzer was all in: anabolic steroids, diuretics, low-calorie diets. He adopted everything that would help him maintain that freakishly ripped look all year round. His razor-sharp focus on his appearance meant that he completely ignored what was happening with his health. As the saying goes, in search of gold, he lost a diamond. His life took a dark turn in 1996. He started experiencing severe stomach pains on a consistent basis. But it was only after months of stomach pain that he was admitted to the hospital on March 12, 1996. Talk about toxic masculinity. The diagnosis was grim. Doctors found internal bleeding and he needed immediate surgery, but his liver and kidneys were damaged beyond repair. He passed away on March 14th due to multiple organ failure. His muscular body had almost zero subcutaneous fat. In order to thrive, he forgot to survive. His life was both inspiring and tragic. It begs the question, how much is too much? Number 8, Dean Warmby. Dean Warmby was a British bodybuilder. His life and career were marked by extreme dietary and training practices, and in the end, his tragic battle with liver cancer. During his heyday, he was known for consuming up to 10,000 calories a day. His diet included high-calorie junk food and energy drinks to maintain his massive physique. Warmby's health began to deteriorate in 2010 when multiple tumors were found in his liver. He was diagnosed with liver cancer in 2014. He chose to combat the disease using natural remedies and rejected conventional treatments like chemotherapy. He completely cut out meat and sugar, adopted a strict diet, and embraced spiritual healing practices. Despite a brief period of improvement, his health did not significantly improve. Warmby shared his journey of fighting cancer on social media and amassed a large following. Sadly, he passed away on July 19, 2015, at the age of 39. Prolonged steroid use was attributed as the direct cause of his liver cancer. His life and death underscored the severe risks associated with anabolic steroid abuse and the importance of considering the long-term impacts of dietary and substance use choices. Number 7. Curt Hennig. Mr. Perfect. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s and followed wrestling, you know exactly who Mr. Perfect is.
Now the perfect place! He got him!
Curt Hennig, popularly known as Mr. Perfect, was one of the most talented and charismatic wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling. His father was the legendary wrestler Larry the Axe Hennig, so it's no wonder that Curt followed in his father's footsteps. Curt started his wrestling career in the American Wrestling Association in the early 1980s. He became one of AWA's top stars and won the AWA World Heavyweight Championship in 1987. His popularity skyrocketed when he moved to WWE, then WWF in 1988. It was at WWE that he adopted his Mr. Perfect persona, a supremely confident and technically flawless athlete who excelled at any sport. His in-ring skills and his ability to perform various sports feats flawlessly made him a fan favorite. His career was plagued with injuries, but that did not hold him back. Despite the setbacks, he continued to perform and entertain at the highest levels throughout the 1990s. However, his personal life wasn't that of a champion. He struggled with substance abuse issues. Back in the day, substance use was common in the wrestling industry, and Curt was no different. He abused painkillers and steroids in order to maintain and perform at the highest level, but prolonged use took a toll on his mental health. On February 10, 2003, Curt was found dead in a hotel room in Brandon, Florida. He was just 6 weeks away from his 45th birthday. The medical examiner's office declared acute cocaine intoxication as the cause of death. His father stated that the abuse of steroids and painkillers played a significant role in his untimely death. Despite his untimely death, Hennig's legacy lives on. He was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2007, but his struggle with substance abuse and his death is a cautionary tale for young athletes and wrestlers. Listening to your body is crucial, pushing limits is necessary, but knowing when to stop is vital too. Number 6. Mohamed Momo Benaziza. Mohamed Momo Benaziza was an Algerian bodybuilder whose passing remains one of the most high-profile and dramatic deaths in the world of bodybuilding. His death defined his legendary status as much as his achievements did when he was alive. Let's dive into his life to understand more. Benaziza moved to France from Algeria to pursue soccer, but soon transitioned into bodybuilding. His journey into the sport was marked by rapid success. He won his first competition in Spain in the under 75 kilograms category. He was not a big man. In fact, he was only 5'2" tall. His short stature did not stop him from quickly rising through the ranks. He defeated opponents who were much larger than him, earning him the nickname the Giant Killer. However, this success did not come easy. He had to work extremely hard, training relentlessly and sticking to a strict diet. His most notable victory came at the 1990 Night of Champions. That night, he beat Dorian Yates, who would later go on to become Mr. Olympia. Benaziza was known for his sensational back, huge biceps, massive shoulders, and well-developed quadriceps. But Benaziza's success did not last long. His career and life were tragically cut short on October 4, 1992. Barely a few hours after winning the Dutch Grand Prix, he was found dead in his hotel room. He was just 33 at the time, and his death was attributed to heart failure, which in turn was caused by excessive use of diuretics. Diuretics eliminate water from the body and are often used by bodybuilders to achieve a dry and ripped look. However, their misuse can be extremely dangerous, as witnessed in Benaziza's case. Benaziza's untimely death shocked the bodybuilding community and highlighted the severe risks associated with performance-enhancing drugs and extreme competition preparations. Number 5. Romario dos Santos Alves. Romario dos Santos Alves wanted to look like the Incredible Hulk. No, he did not want to wear a costume and enact being the Hulk. He literally wanted to become the Hulk. This small idea germinated into a massive obsession that almost cost him his arms. If taking it too far were a person, it would definitely be Romario dos Santos Alves. Alves' journey began when he saw some big guys in his gym in Goiânia using Sinful. Excited by their results, he also began using it. He saw rapid results. His arms started bulking up. The more they bulked up, the more he started injecting. Soon, his biceps grew to an enormous 25 inches. But his Sinful use had gone beyond being a means to an end. He got addicted to Sinful. The continuous injections led to his muscles hardening to the point where they felt like rocks, but he couldn't stop. It escalated to an extent where his muscles had solidified so much that normal needles couldn't penetrate his biceps. He started using needles that were actually meant for bulls. Soon, Alves started to develop severe health problems. The consequences were dire. He experienced constant pain and near kidney failure. Doctors told him that both his arms had to be amputated if he wanted to live. The very thing he was after was the very thing he had to lose in order to live. Fortunately, his luck changed, and doctors found a way to remove the Sinful stones in his biceps without having to amputate his arms. It was an incredibly tough time for him and his young family. They almost starved because of his inability to work. That was the last straw for Alves. He vowed to never use Sinful again and promised his wife that he would turn his life around. But not everyone is as lucky as him. His story should act as a reminder to others about the dangers of synthetic muscle enhancers. Number 4. Ruben Arzu. Ruben Arzu is a name that became infamous in the bodybuilding world due to a violent and shocking incident linked to steroid abuse. On December 3rd, 2011, Arzu went on a rampage in Colton, California. The 22-year-old 300-pound bodybuilder attacked a married couple outside their home, causing them severe injuries. The incident began when the couple returned home from a party to find a naked man on their porch. When the husband confronted him, Arzu started violently assaulting the man, resulting in significant head injuries. When the woman tried to call 911, Arzu attacked her too. He lifted her off the ground and threw her around, causing deep cuts and facial injuries. Their 10-year-old son witnessed the horrific event but was unharmed. Neighbors intervened and police were called. Arzu was not in his senses and did not go down easily. It took 4 police officers, 2 stun gun shots, and 4 sets of handcuffs to finally restrain him. Arzu was charged with attempted homicide and aggravated mayhem, and the couple had to spend 3 days in the hospital. Arzu's bail was set at a whopping $1 million. Arzu's family claimed that he was exhibiting signs of mental distress in the days leading up to the incident. He would wake up in the middle of the night, yelling and speaking in demonic voices. In fact, the family had sought help from both police and mental health professionals. They were told nothing could be done unless he showed signs of wanting to cause harm to himself or others. Arzu's problems go back to his younger years. He was diagnosed with a learning disability and did not graduate from high school. Despite his disabilities, he lived a relatively normal life, raising a 1-year-old child and expecting another with his girlfriend. But his behavior drastically changed, leading to the tragic incident. His mental health issues, combined with steroid abuse, likely contributed to his aggressive behavior and the brutal attack. Number 3. Gordon Kimbrough. Gordon Kimbrough was popularly known as the Chemical Machine. He used steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs to achieve a physique that would be the envy of many, but this steroid use was also responsible for his life taking a dark turn. Kimbrough was engaged to Christy Ramsey, a fellow bodybuilder and an aerobics instructor. Their relationship was a volatile one. It was marred with affairs and instances of physical abuse, but that did not stop them from trying to work things out and even plan their marriage. However, their relationship came to a tragic end on June 20th, 1993. Kimbrough, upon returning from an amateur bodybuilding competition, violently attacked Ramsey in a fit of roid rage. He hit her, tied an electrical cord around her neck, and stabbed her multiple times. He was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. During his trial, his defense argued that he acted in a fit of passion. They claimed that he was influenced by the extensive steroid use that had severely affected his judgment and behavior. Despite this defense, he was convicted and sentenced to 27 years in prison. Steroid abuse not only affects physical health, but also mental stability and relationships. It is best if one stays completely away from any performance-enhancing drugs. Number 2, Sally McNeil.
A jury will decide the fate of Sally McNeil, a female bodybuilder accused of killing her husband, another bodybuilder.
Sally McNeil's name resonates in the world of bodybuilding for all the wrong reasons, but it shouldn't have been this way. Picture this. 2 bodybuilders falling in love. Sounds like a match made in muscle heaven, but it turned out to be a recipe for disaster. Sally McNeil came from a troubled and violent household. She suffered abuse at home from a young age, which instilled a strong sense of self-defense in her. This resilience is what led her to join the US Marine Corps. Even though her military career did not pan out as planned, she excelled and won the US Armed Services Physique Championship twice. This set the tone for the rest of her life. She shifted her focus to bodybuilding and wrestling, even earning the moniker Killer Sally by wrestling men on video. Her life took a significant turn when she met Ray McNeil, a fellow bodybuilder and 1991 Mr. California winner. They fell in love and were soon married. Their shared passion for bodybuilding fueled their relationship, but it also sowed the seeds of their tragic life. Both were heavily influenced by steroids, especially Sally. She went overboard with testosterone to maintain her muscle mass, leading to severe mood swings. Her roid rage influenced all aspects of her life. She once beat a woman to a pulp just on the suspicion that she was looking at Ray. Her violent tendencies were so out of control that she dropped an 80-pound weight on Ray's car in a fit of jealousy. After months of escalating domestic violence and steroid-induced rage, Sally and Ray's life took a nosedive on Valentine's Day in 1995. Sally shot Ray in the chest with a shotgun, alleging abuse and claiming self-defense.
911. I just shot my husband because he just beat me up.
You shot your husband?
Yeah.
Okay, is he dead?
He's shot.
An autopsy revealed that Ray had 5 different types of steroids in his system, while Sally tested positive for decadurabolin. Sally's defense argued that she was the victim, but her history of aggression and violent outbursts did not help her cause. She was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 19 years to life in a California state prison. The Killer Sally arc had come full circle. Her story is a chilling reminder of the dark side of bodybuilding. Is the pursuit of physical perfection really worth it? What about the psychological toll extreme bodybuilding takes? Life is all about a delicate balance. Too much of anything results in disaster. Number 1, Bertil Fox. Bertil Fox was a renowned figure in the bodybuilding world. He first began bodybuilding at a young age after being encouraged by a cousin. He won the 1969 Junior Mr. Britain at only 18 years old, which put him on the bodybuilding map. He continued his success by winning several major titles, including the 1977 Mr. Universe and the professional NABBA Mr. Universe in 1978 and 1979. Fox earned the nickname Brutal Bertil due to his intense and heavy training regimen. His workouts were known for their high volume and heavy weights, often including up to 30 sets per muscle group. His dedication to training and his impressive physique made him a prominent figure in the bodybuilding community. However, Fox's life completely turned upside down on September 30th, 1997. 2 women, Leoka Brown, a 20-year-old beauty queen, and her mother, Violet Brown, were fatally shot. The weapon used in the murder was registered in Fox's name, and he was previously engaged to Leoka. Fox was convicted of their murder and was sentenced to death by hanging. However, this sentence was later changed to life in prison after an appeal. He served 25 years before being pardoned and released in 2022. What made Fox take such drastic actions? Did his successful career overshadow the personal issues he was going through? These and many more questions need to be answered to understand why people push things so far from where there is no return. There's a thin line between dedication and obsession, and when that line is blurred, things can spiral out of control. These lives make us wonder, is the pursuit of perfection ever truly worth the cost?